Hey guys, Bink here, and out in the shop again this morning. So I keep wanting to get underneath the 61. I keep getting sidetracked with other little projects around here. It's all things that got to get done. It's just taking me longer to get that thing on the road. But yesterday, I thought, well, I should put like an ignition system on that run stand so we could start it without start with a key instead of using a screwdriver on the solenoid, jumping it that way to get her going. So I figured I am probably picking up Gary tomorrow, and we'll put that into that motor together, and hopefully everything is good with it. But I thought, heck, I'll build something quick, and quick turns into a little more time, especially when you don't know, when you have never did anything like this before, which in my case, I've never wired an ignition up or anything like that. So I went on my phone and tried to looked at a couple YouTube videos, and they're kind of nothing for like Corvair, stuff like V8, stuff like that. Probably kind of would work the same way for a run stand or ignition, but found kind of just a basic diagram picture, and I had originally built this just small thing just to hold. It was welded on here, and I had bought this ignition I don't know, 3 weeks ago probably, and a switch. I was just going to put an ignition, a switch, maybe a second switch to turn your power off to your coil, but really I guess you wouldn't have to, because it's all in your switch. Once you turn your switch on, if you wire it, you wire that coil wire so it goes hot to the coil, I'm assuming. On the little diagram, it showed one of them showed you should use like a 30 amp fuse, inline fuse. So I bought one, bought a couple extra fuses, figure out where to put that on. One diagram showed it, one didn't. Probably a good idea. They were saying, one of the videos is saying, like, in case you, like, one of your wires hits something hot and melts. So, just a little safety thing. Probably a good idea to put that in there. But what I wasn't sure of, because the way we are starting, and it's not through a solenoid or nothing, and so I went and got a solenoid, and I'm like, yesterday at the end of the day, I mean, I did a bunch of other stuff, but the end of the day is when I kind of started working on this, or late day. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, dang, I need a solenoid. So I went and got one, and I'm like, oh, this ain't big enough. So I'm like, quick went in supersonic speed here, and quick whipped up another one, drilled it out, die grinded it a little bigger, and I drilled 2 holes, threaded cut the heads off a couple 1/4-inch bolts, and threaded them in there, welded them all in from this side, smoothed it out. I will put that on here like that. Ignition switch in here, and one switch to run the fuel pump. Probably don't have to do it that way. Could probably have it through the ignition, but I would think Gary would want to manually turn the fuel pump on and off, in case you don't want to turn your ignition on and you want to just mess around with your carburetor or something. I don't know. And then I do have like a light and a few other things. So this was just a quick thought. This is not the way I would build it on that run stand. This is just something to throw on there on a bolt that's on there. I spent a bunch of time welding some key stock on here to keep it from moving. That run stand, it's working awesome, but it is going to get redesigned a little bit. I'm gonna change a few things on it, because I want to build like 3 or 4 for my shop, and I already have a few people that are interested in them, and maybe I'll build a few anyways, and to sell, I don't know. But I want to get a little bit smaller tank, move it to the end with the bell housing in between her, just smaller, fatter, taller, maybe hold the same amount of fuel. That's about a good size. I think it's like 2.5 gallon or 3, 2.5, I think. Just for safety reasons, so it's not by the exhaust, even though it's, pretty low. and I'm going to raise it up a little bit and figure out a dash for it. And like I said, this is all new for me, wiring, you know, with a solenoid or relay. I guess, I don't know if you call it the same thing. I'm learning. I've never wired ignition, and like I said, the one video said a fuse is probably a good thing. So I've got that. Like I said, this is just something I'm just throwing on there. So when Gary comes over, hopefully I can get this together, wired up, and we won't be able to test it till we get the back of the motor together. So for right now, this is just going to get bolted on there, and I'll run my wires, wire it up how I think it's supposed to be, and I'll check it with Gary tomorrow and figure it out, because I can't even really. I suppose I could take the starter off of it, pull the starter off the motor, and then at least I could hit the key to see if it's all going to work. You know, that's probably a good thing I could do. So like I said, I'm learning. I'll show you how I did mine once I figured it all out, how it works. But I think I might do my dash. My dash would be completely different and more cool, and maybe have a guard over it for your wires. Or I was actually thinking about using an old valve cover, making out of that. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what I do. So that's what I'm playing around with this morning. And we'll, I don't know, put this together and see if we can make something work on this quick. All right, I'll go, let's go over there and I'll show you where this is going to get mounted. All right, guys, this is where I had mounted it, and it's just temporary. This would probably be in the way at some point when we're taking motor on and off and stuff like that. But you know, I just wanted something on here, and then that way I can figure out the wiring, how to wire this thing, and just to try it. So I got that all on there. I'm gonna try to wire it up. Maybe I'll add some extra long wires, and just to try to starter, you know, take the starter off, because I don't want to turn the motor over right now. And then, like I said, I'm gonna be redesigning this stand a little bit different. I'm actually gonna draw this out and get it so I can cut it out on my table. And I'm gonna have these higher. I want this motor to be higher. And I want to get a pan that's gonna slide under there for an oil drip pan. Find like a standard size. And then I don't know if the fuel tank's gonna go back here. The battery's gonna get moved a little bit or what. I don't think it's bad there. Gary had a concern about it with the exhaust on there. I got my new pipes on there. This one's tilted down a little bit. I don't like that. I'll probably end up cutting it and raising it up just because I'm crazy like that. Actually, that one's angled down too a little bit, so I guess they do match pretty well on there. This one might be a little more. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'm just OCD. I want stuff to look just right. I don't know. Anyways, that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna go ahead and try to wire this up quick. Yeah, originally when I did this, I didn't have this extra bar in here. I put a little extra, I don't know, 3/8 by 1/4 inch bar to stiffen it, because I didn't know I had to have like a relay solenoid. Like I said, I'm all new. I'm learning. So this will just be my little cheesy dash for now, just to turn it on and off. And I think, you know, instead of having to sticking a screwdriver in here and jumping it that way, just then I can learn how the wiring gets properly done. And then later on, I'll build a better dash with probably I could do like an oil temp, or I can do pressure. Oil pressure would be a good one to have on there, stuff like that. So hey guys, I think I did it. I had looked up some diagrams on Facebook of how to wire engine run stand, and the ones I was finding said to use a solenoid. I know this is a solenoid on the starter, but use a solenoid and with your key, and do it that way. And I did find a guy. I was having a little troubles with it, and then a guy did like a basic diagram. He drew out on a race board, you know, start with your ignition and go to your coil and go to your fuel pump, and it was real nice. But what he didn't do was, because he had the starter, but his starter, I take it because he just drew it, didn't have a solenoid on it. So I was thinking, I did everything that he had said on there and figured it all out. And when I went to try to start it, yeah, it didn't do nothing. I'm thinking, well, geez, I'm like, okay, there's a starter solenoid on here. You got to be able to get power to here to, you know, turn this on and off, really, like it's kind of like a switch. And so when I looked at somebody else's diagram that I had saved on my phone, and they showed a wire going to your, not this one, but to your starter solenoid to the S. And the other one would go, I guess, to your coil. But I got my coil up here, like the other one said. Now, I don't know if it matters from there or there. I'll talk to Gary about that tomorrow. But so I went and did that, and then, well, I did know the first time I went to do it, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta ground it because the starter's off. I don't want to turn this motor over. You have to ground it. So I touched it on there, and yeah, it spun over with this wire here that I had to run, yeah, to this side of, yeah, to the ignition one on here. So I got it, hit the key, just clicked on, goes on, and it works. So very happy. I actually, you know, these guys out there are probably like, you know, it's not a big deal, but to me it is, because I've never did this ever. And I did test the fuel pump. So when my key is turned on, this is off, and then I can manually turn it on. I clicked it on, and she fired up right away. So I did put a shut off on the power down here on the negative. I don't know if it's supposed to be on the positive. It just, that's where my cable reached. So yeah, I did put a ground wire on it there, and there we go. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Turn this little deal off here. Nothing. So I'm very happy. I you know, figured this out. I did call Gary, and I asked him. He said, "Don't even run your solenoid up here. It's just," he says, "You're just making more work for yourself." You know. Well, I already bought it and built a little this little piece here with it, and from what I've seen, that's the way people are saying to go. So that's what I did. So I think we're good with this here. I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I figured it out on my own. I'll probably run some of that. I have that wire loom plastic stuff. I'll put some of that on here. And like I said, this will end up getting changed down the road. But for right now, just to run it, you know, I think we're good. All right, guys, here's my little diagram. If I would have had this, it would have saved me a lot of time. But I'm just going to share this with you. I don't know if I need a 12-volt resistor anywhere. I did hear that in a couple of videos. I'm going to ask Gary about that. What I did is I ran, this here is my ignition. Just picked it up at AutoZone. I'm sure you saw them all over the place. Just a simple ignition. My eye on there, I ran to the coil on the positive side. I guess what else you could do too, according to Gary, is run it off the solenoid of the starter on the R to your coil. But don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure that's how it would work too. Otherwise, I guess you could run your coil directly to your battery, but this is the way this is the way I did it for my stand to do the little gauges. So I off the key, coil, positive. Then I ran another one up there off of it to my fuel pump switch right there. And then I continued that all the way to my fuel pump. My negative, I grounded it to my stand. A is accessory. I did not use that. That's just you turn your key back, I think the opposite, the other way. So S on here, I ran to the S on the solenoid over here. The I on here, I ran to the S on the solenoid on the starter. Now this is a heavy cable here, a starter, a battery cable. Now M and B are the two bigger bolts or studs on the back of the solenoid. So I ran M to the starter, positive, which, you know, because the starter, when you bolt it up, is actually grounded. Unless you're doing a test like I did, I had it sitting, not bolted onto the bell housing, so I ran just a wire to ground it, just to do a test. And then B is another big stud on the back of the solenoid, and I ran that to the positive. And then, of course, on your battery, you ground your other one out on your run stand. So, I mean, if I'd have this is a little piece of gold nugget for me right here. It'll probably get, you know, I could do, figure out like I do have a little light to put on to let you know that the power's on. I could put that into it too and get fancy with it. But that is how I ran it. It should, I don't know, it works. So very happy with that. All right, well, I hope that little diagram helps you. Like I said, a lot of these guys, it's, you know, basic knowledge for you, but for me, it's all new. It's all new for me. So like I said, I hope that helps. If you have any better way of doing it or something else, I should definitely add. I know I will be adding, you know, I'm gonna do a bigger one later, bigger little dash cluster. I'll do a few more things on there, oil pressure, you know, and stuff like that, and maybe temperature and stuff. But anyways, for me, it's a home run because this is all new to me. You know, I have never did this, and I hope this video, somebody else is trying to, you know, I guess even fire one up on a workbench or anything, you know. You can make yourself a little ignition system and just some wires and throw it together. So, yeah. I hope this helps. Let me know if it helps you. Let me know if I should do something a little different. And like I said, it's a run stand and the makings. We'll dial it in and get it just how I want to build it. And then I will crank out a couple for the shop, 3, 4 of them. And maybe I'd make a few more on the side. And so, yeah. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our channel. That would help us out greatly. And see you on the next one.